Hey everybody, and welcome to Twin Talk, a video discussion show where twin brothers Chris and Kevin drink and draw while talking about comic books, movies, and all things pop culture. We are your hosts, Chris Hart, Kevin Hart, and today we're going to be talking about Superman, Man of Tomorrow. Stick around to the end of the episode to see how our drawing of Superman came out. And if you like what you see, subscribe to the channel for more content. Superman Man of Tomorrow is the first animated movie in DC's kind of reboot of their animated universe. It's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, we just checked, and I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Yeah, it was really refreshing. Coming off from, I believe it was the end of Flashpoint Paradox, which is, in my opinion, one of the greatest DC animated movies. They had Justice League War, and then all the way to Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. It was kind of like their MCU, almost the DCAU, and they had like their own continuity. And to me, I never thoroughly enjoyed that. Like, it had a few good ones to me, but overall, it was like kind of like unnecessarily grim and like
very
edgy.
Dark. Yeah.
Like, there was a lot of cool things and a lot of bad, a lot of mediocre. So I'm glad to see that they rebooted it. I love the animation style in this new movie. It's directed by Chris Palmer, very cartoony.
A lot of people are saying, making the connection that it looks exactly like Archer's animation.
Yeah,
and that's pretty spot on.
Yeah. This movie had a lighter tone, and to me, DC's characters have always been more hopeful and inspiring as opposed to grim and gritty.
Superman himself, the voice actor, I believe, was Darren Criss. He lends his voice talents, and he does a good job of kind of bringing, like you said, that kind of lightheartedness, kind
earnest.
Yeah, exactly, voice to the role. To me, the voice actor that I love the most is obviously the Superman, the animated series. Tim Daly brought like a very hopeful but also like bold kind of voice to Superman, and I love that. But this guy does a good job too, Darren Criss. I really liked Superman's arc throughout this. It's kind of like Man of Steel, where he's like unsure of his role.
Inexperienced.
He's inexperienced on Earth, and he's trying to find his way. I even love the way it opens with like him crying going over like probably his best friend's sleepover. You know, they're watching scary movies. They're just like hanging out late at night.
1950s B sci-fi.
And he just starts crying, not because he's afraid of the movie, but because he feels like an outcast. He feels different, and they play pretty heavily on that. And which should be Superman's kind of like focus, is that he's an outsider that becomes one of us and is the best of us. And becomes the best of us, to be honest.
And I like that they did this. It's kind of like a soft origin reboot.
Yeah.
But they don't spend
quick, though.
Don't spend time. Yeah, they don't milk it. They just kind of like move along. He's in Metropolis within like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And he's already like, flying, and he's wearing like this like makeshift costume, which reminds me a lot of like Invincible, or even like the first Spider-Man movie when he's got like those pajamas at the wrestling ring.
That's a cute outfit. Did your husband give it to you?
He kind of looked like the Rocketeer. He had like a leather jacket and
like
a
blanket for a cape,
a bomber helmet and a blanket for a cape,
and the cape flies off immediately as soon as he goes like Sonic.
True to the comic books too, like he uses his suit, Ma Kent. They use like hacksaws to try and even stitch the thing together. They use the material that came in the spaceship, and they make the iconic Superman suit. Because at first he was just rocking this like leather jacket, and then at one point Superman's even buck naked fighting Lobo. Which Lobo, by the way, he was great. Ryan Hurst is the voice actor. Dude looks just like Lobo in real life, and his voice acting, to me, Lobo like stole the show. He's like Wolverine meets Deadpool meets Ghost Rider all in one, and he's amazing.
He's never been like my favorite character or anything, but he's an interesting character. To me, he's kind of like the Harley Quinn of Superman. Like that just like weird persona that like fans kind of just love.
Eat up. People love Lobo. I think there's a live action portrayal in the show on Sci-Fi that was Krypton. I never got a chance to watch that, but I would love to see Lobo done in the live action DCEU at one point, because Superman, everyone hates on Superman. They say he's lame, he's got no villains, but he's got a really cool rogues gallery. I could name a bunch: Toyman, Mxyzptlk, Parasite, Lobo, Lex Luthor, obviously, Bizarro, all these. He's got a good lore, and he doesn't get enough credit, in my opinion. And I think that Lobo was awesome, just the way his voice acting was in this. And then he comes to Earth saying that he has a bounty for the last Kryptonian. So, one, who sent that bounty? I want to know more about that story, because it kind of just shows up out of nowhere. So hopefully, maybe in continuity, we'll get more of like maybe Brainiac's looking for the last of people as like trophies. We know how Brainiac operates, so that'd be cool to see in future DCAU movies.
I love how Lobo just comes out like bat out of hell in the sky from the chopper, just like, his like his space cycle basically is like really badass to me.
I didn't know too. I don't know much about Lobo. Again, all I really know is from the Superman animated series. But he was awesome in that. He's awesome in everything I've seen him in. But I've never given him the time that he deserves as a character. I didn't know that he was kind of like Immortal, yeah, because there's a couple deaths throughout this movie that we'll talk about. That Lobo gets obliterated. He, he's like, I am the bomb or something like that, and he like blows himself up, which was an awesome way to go out against Parasite.
But then he like morphs back into himself.
Yeah, I didn't know he was kind of like that, and that's cool. So I'm excited. Hopefully, we see more of him. He was great. Again, he was like the show stealer to me, and I loved him.
He showed up at the end basically saying, like, there's more Martians out there.
Yeah.
More Kryptonians. Which, by the way, let's talk about Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
His character design is immaculate.
Yeah. Although the X on his... he's got a very simple costume design, but the X in this animated looks a little too similar to a swastika for me. It's
really?
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on that.
I was like, it kind of looks a little... I don't know. That's just me, though. I was like, maybe they could have done a little bit different of a design, because... It's a simple enough design. You can have creative liberties with that suit.
I'm not a big fan of his design in general, but in this movie, it's beautiful, and the colors are beautiful.
He was a cool character, too, because he's kind of just, like, creeping on Superman throughout the movie. He's just, like, a dude in a trench coat.
Yeah.
Like, that's just, like...
He's obviously been around for a while, and
he's
like
just
disguising himself.
Roman, does he have a family here? What's his deal? So I'd love to see them explore these characters. They set up a lot in this one film that could be opened up, and we can get a lot of backstory and history with these characters, and more even going forward. So that's what I like about this fresh approach to the DCAU. And Martian Manhunter, he was cool. He had a brutal death sequence that got me. You fooled me, because
I thought he was dead.
He was dead by fire, which we all know. Like, he's like, petrified of fire. And the screams, I still hear them at night. I still hear those screams at night in my head.
I remember when I first watched this, I was just like, okay, I guess he's dead.
That's that.
I was like, I guess this is a standalone one and done story, because we're not going to bring back these characters for a Justice League ensemble piece. And when he got like obliterated, he got murked.
Got lit up.
Like Parasite's just holding his hands, just like literally just destroying him with fire. And but we see later on that it was kind of like, a mind projection that he did to kind of like bide himself some time to help out Superman in the end.
Man.
He's just as powerful as Superman.
I think more, to be honest. He's got some, the fact that he could like phase through things and shapeshift, that's crazy powerful. And a great character that, again, is underestimated in my opinion. And speaking of more of the villains, Lex, who better to portray a villain than Zachary Quinto, Siler from Heroes.
Spock too, from the Star Trek, J.J. Abrams Star Trek franchise. He does great at the condescending piece of garbage Lex in this movie. But at the same time, like, he's not like evil in this. He's just that kind of like smartest guy in the room, and he knows it.
Shady business guy, which should be Lex Luthor, yeah.
But he's not like inherently evil. He kind of helps them out at the end.
Yeah, but he kind of gets like a get out of jail free card. He's kind of helping Superman because, it's to his benefit. At the end, he's got like this kryptonite gun, and he's just like, who do I kill first? He's like, the giant kaiju parasite or the alien.
How the turntables.
Yeah, exactly. He was great. Like, every time Zachary Quinto said a line as Lex Luthor, I just felt I went a little bit more into the dirt. I was like, I'm not worthy of being a human. He was just so condescending.
Let's talk about Rudy Jones' Parasite. I felt so bad for this dude. He was just a janitor at Star Labs, which I remember too from the Superman the animated series. How he turns into Parasite, like those like
it's like an
barrels of goo or whatever fall on him, and he becomes like this monster. And it's kind of like that body horror element that always freaks me out. And in this one especially, because it was kind of a fresh take on Parasite in my opinion. Like every time he stole some sort of energy or power, it just wasn't enough, and he mutated, leveled up. He became he evolved into something bigger, and he eventually becomes Godzilla at the end of this movie, a purple Godzilla, and he is a kaiju level at the end, and I really thought that was a cool take. For like a one and done thing, it's cool,
Yeah.
Because you can't do that every month.
Obviously,
in a comic book.
We're not getting more of him. Obviously.
Yeah, like this is his story, and his arc is over. But again, that's why it's like tragic to me, because he had a wife that was pregnant with a new baby, and he had a child, a daughter.
He was a war veteran.
He was a war veteran, so he was like, and he was just a good, hardworking dude. He was talking to Clark in the beginning.
Yeah, he was just a janitor
at the Star Labs like inauguration or whatever with Lex, and I was just like, this poor guy, just because Lobo threw some sort of like alien
weapon, he turned into this monster and like lost his humanity. But that plays into the themes of this movie about identity and role, because although he changes into this evil being that is just kind of like this monster that's just, you know, desperate for power, Superman does the right thing at the end and appeals to reason, to his heart, and he's just like, you know, man, you got to stop, chill out. And that was very Christopher Reeve, like, to
He's
me,
the voice of reason. Yeah.
and it works in his favor because he ends up sacrificing himself. And I felt so bad. And then he just like crackles into dust, and I was just like, yeah, that guy's dead.
Yeah, he ain't coming back.
Like he lost everything. He lost
his family.
He didn't get to see his new baby. Like it's
But
actually
he was
really sad.
He was a monster at that point. Like that was the cool thing, like you said, was the body horror. He went from like just this janitor working at Star Labs to like the dude from Jeepers Creepers to then becoming like a xenomorph to then becoming like Godzilla 98. He at one point I think he's even like breathing, you know, purple fire on the city.
Yeah.
Very cool take on Parasite. I loved every second of it. I loved too the Batman cameo too. The whole reason why Superman wears a cape is because Lois is like completely turned on by a cape in her brief notes.
For it.
Yeah, exactly. We see a picture letting us know that there is a Batman out there, so I'm excited to see. I believe his first introduction in this DCAU is the Long Halloween.
That's going to be coming out soon. Yeah, I'm excited to see how that plays out because, like you said, we both adore the animation style here. It's very classic, like that old like He-Man, all that type of like 80s Thundercats type animation,
bright, colorful,
which we gush over. Yeah, and we're looking forward to the future of this new DCAU.
Even with Superman, I believe Lobo says at the end that he said he came looking for the last of Krypton, last of Mars with Martian Manhunter, but he says that's just what he says because it raises the price a little bit. So he says that he's seen Martians, so Martian Manhunter kind of goes off into space. So we'll see. Maybe he reunites with some sort of family, or maybe some villains.
The white Martians,
yeah,
kind of like his villains.
That, and then also he says that there might be a Kryptonian or two. So I'm assuming that means Supergirl. And I'm very excited to see what this DCAU brings going into the future.
Real quick, I wanted to talk about the design of this Superman is very classic. I'm a sucker for like Golden Age Superman, like this book over here, like that bright, vibrant, simple, very simple but powerful. You know, like less is more type thing. Like sometimes they try to do too much with Superman. The New 52 with like that collar, which I hate, and like
the wrists,
the wrists, and like the lack of the. I love the underwear. I'm a sucker for the underwear. He
iconic.
He is the OG superhero, so just like, you know, delve into it, lean into it.
I mean, us as kids, every kid has done it at one point where they put the underwear over the pants and the cape, you know, through the, you stuff it in through the collars. So, I mean, there's a reason why Superman's costume has endured for, 80 years or something now?
That's the thing I loved in Man of Steel, too, that shot of him in the cornfield with like the towel around his neck like that. It's just an iconic thing, too. And when you wore the underwear on the outside, you wanted to make sure that it was clean underwear and not, soggy drawers.
What did you guys think of Superman Man of Tomorrow? Let us know in the comments below. Anyways, that about wraps up today's episode of Twin Talk. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment below to join the discussion, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content. See you next time. Peace!